in a small stretch of land between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. Two nations, Israel and Palestine, claimed the same home, a place of prophets and prayers, of conflict and coexistence. This is the story of a rivalry that spans a century, a struggle for land, identity, and peace. Long before modern borders, this region was a crossroads of civilizations. Canaanites, Hebrews, Romans, and Ottomans all ruled here. For Jews, it was the promised land Israel, where ancient kingdoms once stood. For Muslims and Christians, it was sacred home to Jerusalem, where prophets walked. By the 1800s, this area was part of the Ottoman Empire. Mostly Arab Muslims and Christians lived there, alongside small Jewish communities. But change was coming. In Europe, waves of anti-Semitism and persecution led many Jews to dream of returning to their ancestral homeland, a movement known as Zionism, led by Theodor Herzl. At the same time, Arab nationalism was rising, calling for independence from Ottoman rule. Two national movements, both born from suffering and hope, began to imagine different futures on the same land. During World War I, Britain captured Palestine from the Ottomans. In 1917, the Balfour Declaration announced British support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, while also saying that existing non-Jewish communities should not be harmed. Jewish migration increased rapidly, and tensions grew. By the 1930s, clashes broke out between Jewish settlers and Arab Palestinians who feared losing their land. Both communities wanted freedom, but under different flags. In 1947, the United Nations voted to partition Palestine into two states, one Jewish, one Arab, and to make Jerusalem an international city. The Jewish leadership accepted. The Arab side rejected the plan, seeing it as unjust. When Britain withdrew in 1948, Jewish leaders declared the State of Israel. Arab armies from neighboring countries invaded. When the war ended, Israel controlled 77% of the land, and over 700,000 Palestinians became refugees. To them, this was the Nakba, the catastrophe. To Israel, it was Independence Day, the birth of a homeland after centuries of exile. Over the next decades, conflict erupted again and again. 1956, the Suez Crisis. Israel, Britain, and France attacked Egypt. 1967, the Six-Day War. Israel captured the West Bank, East Jerusalem, Gaza, Sinai, and Golan Heights. 1973, the Yom Kippur War, when Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack. After 1967, Israel occupied Palestinian territories, a turning point that shaped everything that followed. For Palestinians, daily life now meant checkpoints, curfews, and military rule. For Israel, it meant security surrounded by enemies, but now in control of holy lands like Jerusalem. In 1964, the Palestine Liberation Organization was founded, led by Yasser Arafat, calling for Palestinian self. The struggle took many forms: diplomacy, protests, and sometimes violence. By the 1980s, images of children throwing stones in the First Intifada, the Palestinian uprising, captured global attention. In Israel, peace movements also grew. Both sides began to realize no one could win by force alone. 1993, a moment of hope. The Oslo Accords, signed by Israel and the PLO, created the Palestinian Authority, giving limited self-rule in parts of the West Bank and Gaza. Leaders spoke of two states for two peoples. For the first time, the flags of Israel and Palestine were raised side by side. But peace was fragile. Rabin was assassinated by an Israeli extremist in 1995. Trust collapsed, and soon, new violence began. After peace talks failed in 2000, the Second Intifada erupted, far deadlier than the first. Suicide bombings, airstrikes, and military incursions left thousands dead. Israel built a separation barrier around the West Bank, saying it was for security. Palestinians called it a prison wall. In 2005, Israel withdrew from Gaza, but soon after, Hamas, a militant group, took control there, leading to repeated wars between Hamas and Israel. Civilians, on both sides, suffered the most. The rivalry continues now, not just about borders, but about identity and recognition. Israel maintains control over most of the West Bank, and the blockade of Gaza continues. Palestinians seek full independence, a state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Israel insists on security and recognition as a Jewish state. International powers, the US, UN, and Arab nations, have tried to mediate, but peace remains distant. The map is still unfinished. Every new conflict redraws it and lives lost, not lines drawn. Beyond politics and flags, this is a human story. Two peoples shaped by history, both claiming ancient roots, both yearning for peace. An Israeli mother in Tel Aviv and a Palestinian father in Gaza. Both want their children to live without fear. Both are trapped in a cycle older than themselves. The rivalry has lasted more than a century. Yet, amid despair, there are glimmers of hope, activists, teachers, and artists working across borders, each small act of kindness, a silent rebellion against hate. The next century will test humanity's ability to heal. Technology, diplomacy, and generational change could finally rewrite this story. Perhaps the new generation born under two flags will find a way to live under one sky. Because in the end, peace isn't written on maps. It's written in hearts. From ancient kingdoms to modern wars, from divided walls to shared prayers, this land remains sacred to billions, and maybe, one day, it will also be sacred for peace.